multiplication together, and our goal is to make you be able to do this type of multiplication. But we're going to do step by step, and you again need to sometimes pause the video and you have to say your thinking, or you have to write your thinking, or you just have to think how things work. So let's start. So before we start the actual algorithm, let's talk about what's happening here. So you need to know what multiplication means. So when we say 3 times 5, in our language, English, means 3 lots of 5s. So this is what it is, right? And that's 15. Are we good with that? If we say 4 lots of 7, that means I have 5, 1, 1. I have 4 lots of these. Some of you may have a knowledge for 7 to 28 straight away, or you can clearly see 10, 20, 28. It is very important that you can do this so you actually understand what the multiplication means. So, I'm going to give you 4 questions right here. First one is 4 tens. Next one is 5 tens, 7 tens, and 2 tens. I'm going to give you maybe 1 minute. You can say the answers, you can write down the answers, or you can just think about the answers. Let's pause the video. Did you get the answers? Now, the first one, 4 times 10, this is a 10, right? I need 4 lots of 10s. So some of you might know the answer, or we can quickly see what's happening here. 4 lots of 10s will make 10, 20, 30, 40. The answer is 40. 5 times 10. We need another 10. So 1, 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50. 7 times 10. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 is the answer. So let's quickly write down 50, 70. 2 lots of 10s. 2 10s are 20. So it's 20. This is a very important part in maths. Good mathematicians can find patterns. Can you see any patterns here? I'll give you a bit of time. Can you pause the video? Can you think, write, just say your opinion. So, what is the pattern you found? Now, what you're doing now is called conjecture. Now, conjecture means you're going to make up a rule. Looking at the mathematical facts, you're going to think about a rule in maths. It's called conjecture. So you are going to have a mock rule. And what we have to do is, let's see if it works. So, some of you just possibly said or wrote or thought about just adding a 0. So for example, 4 times 10 is 4 and add a 0. Adding a 0 in maths is not quite right. If we add 0, the answer is going to be the same. So you can say put a 0 afterwards, or you can attach a 0. It's fine. But put a 0 doesn't mean anything. So I want you to write a proper conjecture starting with if or when. Let's go when, what happens? You have 2 minutes. Let's pause the video. Let's write this time. Let's write a conjecture. So, did you write when you multiply a number by 10? Now what happens? You put the 0 afterwards. You put the 0 after the original number. Or you might have said when a number is multiplied by 10. So we use u, or if when a number is multiplied by 10, the rest will be the same. You attach or put a 0 after the original number. So 5 times 10 is write 5 and then put the 0. 2 times 10 is 2 and add the 0. When the number is multiplied by 10, the answer is the original then a 0 attached. It doesn't matter how you say it, how you write it, but the important part is you can see a pattern. So why doing the times 10 or times, well, 7 times 10, 5 times 10, why is it important? We'll find out in a minute. So what happens if I multiply a number by 20? Let's see what happens to the answer. Let's pause the video, let's write, let's think, let's talk about it. So remember what 5 times 20 really means. That's 5 lots of 20s. So 20, 20, 20, 20, and 20. So this is 5 lots of 20s. I can clearly see 5 chunks, and each chunk has 20. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Now answer is 100. 7 times 20, I need 2 more. 6 lots of 20 and 7 lots of 20. When I see it, that's 100, 110, 120, 130, 140. 3 times 20 is 60. Again, can you find a pattern? Or can you write a conjecture? Let's pause the video. Can you write a conjecture, or you can say the conjecture, or can you think of the conjecture? Oh, I wonder what you found out. So I'm sure a lot of people said that's 7 times 2, that's 14. 14's here. 3 times 2 equals 6. Then 0 is here. 5 times 10, 5 times 2 is 10, and then 0. So you can see you multiply these numbers, then you put the 0 at the end. 7 times 2 is 14, 0 at the end. 3 times 2 is 6, 0 at the end. Now what happens if I change that to 30? Not 20. 20 is gone. What happens if I use 30? What about 40? Does the conjecture change? Let's pause the video and let's think right or let's say a conjecture. Well, let's try this. 3 lots of 40. Because I have 20s, this is 40. This is another 40. Then this is 40. I can see 4 lots of 10s and 3 chunks. Can you see 3 times 4? 4 10s, answer is 120. Seems like it still works. We multiply these two numbers and put the 0 at the end because 40, right? If that's the rule, 5 3s are 15, answer should be 150. 7 times 3 is 21, answer is 210. How about I'm going to give you some questions you can practice, because this is very important when you do vertical algorithm. So 2 lots of 40, 4 lots of 50, 3 lots of 60. You have, let's pause the video, let's quickly do these questions. I quickly did this. 2 times 4 is 8, 4 times 5 is 20, 3 times 6 equals 18. Then I have to do is this extra 0 will be added, right? So can you make 3 questions by yourself? And let's see if you can answer those questions. Let's see if they're right. You've got calculators, or your parents may have a mobile phone that's got a calculator in it. You can write those questions and you can just check the answers by yourselves. Let's pause the video. Well, so the next video we're going to do this type of multiplication. So see you soon.